Soundstripe. 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 Soundstripe.
Hello, welcome to Hawk Talk, the podcast where we keep you up to date with everything that's going on at the Batemans Bay Football Club. Mick, it is great to be back. I'm Joel Erickson. That's Michael Kenny on the other side of the table there. Mate, it's been a massive off season. I've been chomping at the bit to get back into this. It's great to be back.
Yeah, g'day, Jolie. Obviously, really looking forward to a big 2025, mate, and obviously great to have you back on board with the podcast. And only a couple more sleeps now till round one, so everyone's kicked into gear and ready to go.
It's the best time of the year. Let's be honest. It's full of optimism. The season can go any way. It's all in front of you. Let's just before we get into the podcast, like the actual stuff that we're going to talk about. There has been a bit of a change. I'm no longer in Batemans Bay. Unfortunately for me, probably fortunately for the on-field product. Let's be honest, Mick. But unfortunately for me, I've had to move for work purposes. But mate, I was just chomping at the bit, as I said. So thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to get this podcast up and going again in 2025. We got some big plans for the coming weeks, some massive special guests, potentially some changed technology as well in the way we share the podcast, but we'll kind of reveal that as we go. How you reckon, Mick, or should we spill the beans now?
No, I reckon we'll keep it a bit of a secret. But yeah, obviously this year, really well received in 2024 was Hawk Talk. So, we've got some sort of new ideas that we want to embrace in 2025. Obviously got some new guests, some that'll give us plenty of laughs along the way as well. So, it's going to be an awesome season on Hawk Talk. So really looking forward to it.
I guess I will put one teaser out there for the listeners. There is a rumor flying around that Liam Bacco is getting ready to play his 100th game. So Liam Bacco may be one of the guests. If I get my way, he won't be, but we'll see how we go. Hey, that's a joke, Liam. I still love you. Hey, look, let's talk about some of the massive things that have happened at the club over the off season because obviously the transition to not only into this year, but into the big plans for 2026. They're all it's kind of flying along in a lot of ways. And I wanted to talk about this one first because I think this is a massive deal. This is a massive get for the club. Andrew Constance, the Liberal candidate for the upcoming federal election for the seat, has announced $3 million pledge for upgrades to Hanging Rock Oval. Mickey, I know you guys were trying to get as many blokes down to the club as possible. Tell me about this funding promise and what you would get if Andrew Constance was elected.
Yeah, so I think it's no secret, mate, about the vision of the footy club and where we want to get to in the coming years, and obviously 2026 is the year that we're obviously looking to advance ourselves in the league and go into a higher division. And one of those requirements that we needed to meet, or we do need to meet, is some new facilities and just upgrading the facilities, with obviously the addition of another women's side this year, which I'm sure we'll get to very soon. Obviously we need to upgrade our facilities so that it's catering for the male and female participants of our football club and members of our football club. So, so we've been lucky enough to obviously get Andrew Constance on board. If he does get elected and the Dutton government gets in, so we will get a $3 million upgrade to Hanging Rock, which will be pretty much facility based. That'll be a standalone facility for the Batemans Bay Seahawks, which can be used by the broader community as well, obviously.
Yep.
But it will obviously cater for those needs that we need to go into Premier Division in AFL Canberra.
Sure, and I'm gonna put my journalism hat on here, Mick. Have we secured any kind of promise from the Labor Party at this stage?
No, there's been a little bit of backwards and forwards on that front with Fiona.
Yep.
But yeah, no actual commitment from her as of yet. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, a lot of hard work going into it off the field. So, a lot of people that are involved in really working hard behind the scenes. So we'll see how we go. Fingers crossed,
Yep.
and yeah, go from there.
And that's obviously Gilmore MP Fiona Phillips that we're speaking of there. Another step, another kind of big talking point from this offseason, and it's probably another step in the uptick in professionalism that the club's probably going to be going through in with the looking forward to 2026. You've formed two pretty important partnerships, one with Peak Form Physio and one with Eurobadella Health and Fitness. And my read on this, Mick, and tell me if I'm wrong here, is that this is just, as I said, stepping up the professionalism, uh, especially in terms of like sports science, injury management, that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I think obviously when we're putting together our strategic plan and business plans for the move forward and where we wanted to get to as a club, we probably just felt that off field really needed to work on that area before we really worked on and wanting to enter that division. So those things off field are obviously we've got peak form physiotherapy that are on now. They Jack headlines that. So he comes down every Tuesday afternoon. He's got his Tuesday afternoon injury clinic, which is strictly for players that's at Hanging Rock. So it's another obviously level that we've gone to there. He's actually got two sports trainers involved, which are doing all our home games.
Yep.
And then we've been lucky enough to secure a bit of a deal with a Canberra-based company as well called Sports Tech, who are providing sports trainers for all our away games, our Canberra games. So,
Wow.
so yeah, with those two guys, that's all obviously helping us out on game day in the physio space. And then we've been lucky enough to obviously get Eurobadella Health and Fitness on as well. So we've sort of spent a fair bit with them during the preseason. We've done a fair bit of physical testing and stuff like that. And Lindsay has been fronting all that for us, and he's been doing a great job as a strength and conditioning coach. And he's down there on Tuesday nights as well. And any players that are going through rehab or are a little bit ginger, he can take them for alternate training on Tuesday night. So yeah, just a bit of a step up, mate, off the field, and just an area that we felt that we needed to improve on if we were to make that step next year.
Yeah, and look, speaking of peak form physio, obviously Jack helped out the club a little bit in probably more of an unofficial capacity last year. So I think it's probably a great move from the club to kind of I don't know, maybe pay that back in a way to make the move official.
Yeah, I think it's obviously worked both ways, mate. Jack's just started the business this year, so I think he wanted to get that little bit of exposure as well, and like you say, obviously with the help that he was giving us last year. I think grand final week, there was myself and Buster, and there was a whole lineup of us that were going out there at all hours of the night to get treated to make sure that we got up for the grand final and stuff like that. So I think it just was natural that we obviously helped him out, and yeah, now he's obviously helping us out as well as we move in that right direction.
Yeah, and I'm sure you could probably speak for this because you've played so much footy, Mick. But I think someone who tells you that they're fully healthy at that point of the season is probably lying to you. Would I be correct?
Yeah, definitely. I'm dreading round one on Saturday, mate.
So your calf's already gone, is it, Mick? That's
What
that's a
car?
joke for the listeners. What calf? Yeah, it is. Doesn't exist anymore. Um, hey, we touched on this earlier, but let's talk about that new team. It's one that's been discussed for a while, and I think with the success of the men's team, this was always going to happen. But you've got a new Rising Stars women's team. Um, Yeah, that must be really exciting. The feelings that is generating at the club.
Yeah, it is, mate. It's very exciting, actually. Probably been a little bit slow to get off the ground, but probably not too dissimilar to our Rising Stars men from last year, really. I think it's probably just that first year syndrome, I guess, in just getting it established, and then hopefully, as we progress in the coming years, we can obviously get stronger as we go through. But don't get me wrong, though, there's still some real quality players in that lineup, and Damon Connick, who's a life member of the footy club, he's sort of taken the lead with that team, and yeah, really, really proud of him for jumping into that role, and know that he'll do a great job as well. So yeah, obviously a great move for the footy club going forward. I know we've obviously touched on it a fair bit now in the direction that we want to go, but it's obviously important to have that pathway now for those girls that are 17, 18-year old, that they can get to play footy longer before they transition into senior footy.
And I guess that's the thing. Like these are all Rising Stars men last year, Rising Stars women this year. The step up to first grade, they're all building blocks, aren't they? It's all like none of these things are going to take off overnight, but they're all just you're putting in the foundations to build a really what is already a really strong footy club and taking it to the next level. And I mean, you're right when you say that this is just providing a pathway from basically, let's be honest, as early as they want to play, all the way through to seniors now, just about at the club. So um, I think I think it's a great move, but I'm obviously biased because I love the club. So um, now tell me, Mick, when they start next week their season?
They do, mate. Yeah, so round one kicks off for the both Rising Stars grades next Sunday. So they're at home against Eastlake in both the men and the women next Sunday, the 13th.
There you go. Get down to that one if you have a Sunday available. Let's talk another thing regarding next year, but not about the direction of the club. This is more about the history of the club. Um, Batemans Bay Seahawks will be celebrating their 50th anniversary in 2026. Now, Mick, I understand that there are some plans underway, and there's probably not much you can give away just yet. But tell me about kind of what's been going on in the background to try and plan as big a, I guess, celebration as you can for the club.
Yeah, mate. So obviously really exciting for the footy club to get to that 50-year mark, and hopefully can coincide with something a lot bigger as well. So, but yeah, we've established a subcommittee now for the 50-year anniversary, and we met together a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, just put in a few things in place, and some ideas around what we want to do next year. And I've actually reached out to Queanbeyan Footy Club, who have helped out a fair bit. They celebrated their 100-year anniversary last year, so we've sort of picked the bones out of what those guys did last year, and hopefully that'll obviously make us or help us in our planning for our 50-year celebrations.
Yeah, I mean it's a massive achievement for any sporting club, but especially I would say an Aussie rules club in a regional town in New South Wales. To survive for 50 years, not only to survive but to thrive like the club has, you must there must be an immense feeling of pride amongst the kind of the leadership group at the club.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I think even just it just goes so quick too. Going through photos and stuff myself the other day. Like doesn't seem that long ago that I first rocked up here, and it's now going into my 13th or 14th season. So it really does go quick. But you think about the guys that have been there along the journey, and even guys that might have just played that one or two seasons that you built relationships with and stuff like that. So, football clubs, they really are more than just football clubs. They're a separate community, and yeah, it's looking forward to a really big 50-year celebration next year. It's going to be an awesome event.
Let's move to the next thing on my list here, Mick. It's the big preseason invitational over the weekend, the Cat Club preseason invitational.
Yep.
How'd that go?
Mate, I slept very well Saturday night, Jolie. I can tell you that because I didn't have much sleep on Friday night when the rain started coming down at about 10:15 with the 100 mil forecast for Saturday.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I reckon I counted every raindrop Friday night, but no, it was yeah, fantastic day, mate. Obviously, we had 19 teams, including the Bateman's Bay, four Bateman's Bay teams, who had 19 teams in total, across the four age groups. We had all three grounds at Hanging Rock, the new field three over at the soccer fields, as well as the Union and our field going all day. Yeah, fantastic day for the footy club, and seemed to be really well received by all the AFL Canberra teams that were involved.
So they were this was a junior carnival, is that correct?
It was, mate. Yes, we had under 13s mixed, under 15s boys, under 16s girls, and under 17s boys.
Okay, and it was just I mean you said it was the AFL Canberra clubs, but just give us an idea of which clubs did come down.
Yep. So we had there was Ainsley, Tuggeranong, Maris, Eastlake, Belconnen Magpies, and I think that might have pulled us up, pretty
Yep.
close. But yeah, obviously really great to have those clubs support it, and clubs that we don't traditionally play in the juniors. So it was great for our juniors to go up against those clubs up there, and I guess see what sort of level that those guys are up there.
And Hanging Rock, it must have been rocking on Saturday with that many people there.
It was, mate. Yeah, I think there was probably a period from I reckon about 10 till around 12:30, and where it actually wasn't raining either. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know the exact numbers, but I'd reckon there would have been close to 1,000 people there at that stage. So, yeah, no, it was really awesome, and full credit to Karen and Rob Green as well in the canteen. They had a massive day in there, and they do a fantastic job in the canteen. And yeah, I'm sure they enjoyed a couple of quiet beers and a good sleep on Saturday night as well.
Sounds very well deserved, to be fair. Now, tell me the plans for this going forward. Is this going to be an annual event for the club?
Yeah, that's the plan, mate. I think we were obviously just sort of dipping our toes in the water a little bit this year with it. Never running an event like that, but I think that with the feedback, I think it's just the perfect location for something like that. Now that we've got three fields, it just makes it so easy, to obviously organise the event, but for the event to go off the way it did, I was obviously really proud, and I think it's just with everything so central there at Hanging Rock, it really is a great place to hold an event like that. So, yeah, I think we'll definitely will look to do it again next year, judging by the feedback from the AFL Canberra clubs, and potentially throw it out to South Coast and Sapphire clubs as well, and. If we can get a bit better weather, we could maybe turn it into a 2-day event or something as well. But I think the sky's the limit with it. To be fair,
Yeah. Well, I know the Tigers run quite a successful junior invitational in their preseason as well, and I don't see any reason why the Seahawks couldn't be matching that. So, yeah, I mean, it's great to see Bateman's Bay being the centre of these big sporting events, and let's hope it keeps building into the future. Now,
definitely, mate.
that's probably all the big ticket news items that we've covered. I want to get to some. I wouldn't call them smaller, but maybe just more light-hearted. Let's say. This might have been my favourite one that I stumbled upon this week, Mick. You guys have a new beverage.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, so we've obviously had a collaboration with the Browley Brew House in bringing out a Seahawks mid haze beer, which we launched at the trial game against Wollongong Bulldogs a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, it was pretty well received. So something that Joe, who's the manager of the Browley Brewhouse, come to me with a bit of an idea, and I sort of jumped on it, obviously with our commitments to the Steam Packet Hotel and Catalina Club now, and other establishments. It's sort of a bit hard to spread it yourself across all the locations. So I guess this was just another way that we could support a local business, which is, to be fair, supported us for a long period of time as well. So yeah, it's a good way for them to obviously get exposure and for us to sort of support them as well.
You've tried it, have you, Mick?
I have, mate. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
usually much of a craft beer fan, but I do like the mid haze for sure. And there was a few guys that I know, even Sudsy, he wasn't real keen on it at the start, but he's sort of starting to come around a little bit as well, which is good.
Can I? Are we all allowed to throw the club president under the bus like that? Can we? Am I allowed to get in the party here?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want, mate. You're in Queensland.
That is true. That is true. He can't reach me up here. No, I mean that's massive. That beer will be available at all home games. The Steam packet. Where else will you be able to purchase a can of that beer, Mick?
Yeah, so just at Seahawks home games, mate. Seahawks senior home games.
Yep.
And then like you said, obviously at the Steam Packet Hotel. So you can buy it at the bottle shop there, and then they will have it on tap on after Seahawks home matches as well.
How good. Another one that popped up this week, which I think is probably, from my understanding, is a bit of maybe a newer collaboration as well. You're running a ladies' day this year in conjunction with my agents. Tell me about that and about kind of how that got off the ground.
Yeah, so this one sort of come about. Had a few conversations with Gemma Green, who I've obviously known for a long period of time. Sean's wife, and yeah, she works at my agent team, and it was probably just another different way around sponsorship that we could support another local business, instead of just doing just your general, sort of cash donations. And had a good chat with Christine Ewan and went to her with this idea. And yeah, we sort of just built this ladies' day out of that. And yeah, really stoked to have those guys on board and think that they're gonna run an awesome event, which I believe is scheduled for Saturday the 31st of May, when we play ANU at home. So yeah, it should be an unbelievable event, hopefully.
So tell us some of the perks that the ladies will get on that day, Mick.
Yeah, so it's $25 a ticket. That'll get you entry. So we'll have a sectioned off area upstairs in the function room. With that, you'll get a free wine glass on entry. You'll get a gift bag as well. And there'll be a grazing table there. And yeah, I think the girls have got a few other things planned as well. So it's obviously just giving back to the great women that we've got involved at our football club as well, mate.
Yeah, of course. Look, never a better excuse to get to the footy than to pay a cool 25 and get some of those perks. So, and a big, as you mentioned, another great partnership for the club to be a part of as well. Let's talk some personal news at the club. There's been a couple of big milestones, personal milestones for a couple of very key people at this club. First one I want to talk about is your co-head coach for the seniors, Nathan Blackburn. He's a married man now,
Yes,
and
he is, mate. Yeah. So congratulations to Nathan Carley, who tied the knot back on the 15th of March, I believe
yep,
so. So yeah, it was a pretty small event. I think they had it at Oaks Ranch. So yeah,
yeah, okay.
congratulations to those two.
I did see some of the photos that Nathan was kind of sharing around, and it's just a shame. So a couple of those groomsmen are pretty rough looking characters. So, but I won't judge Nathan for that. And then the second bit of news, and this one's a bit more recent, but our premiership winning reserve grade head coach Cam Carr is a new father. Him and Bess had a child, and that was only about a week ago.
Yeah, it was, mate. Don't quote me on it, but I think she may have been about 3 weeks early as well. So, but yeah, I obviously had a chat with. Well, I talk to Cam nearly every day, being the
Yeah,
reserve grade coach. But yeah, had a chat to Cam and Bess actually last night, and their little new addition to the family, Laney.
yeah.
And yeah, all is going well there, which is great. So obviously, really key members of our football club is Cam and Bess, and yeah, we get to welcome another little Seahawk to the Seahawk family as well.
Yeah, that's brilliant news. I mean, anyone involved with the club knows that this club probably wouldn't run without Bess in a lot of ways. And obviously, we spoke about this a lot on the podcast last year, but Cam's just been a warrior for this club at the time he's been here, and probably nobody deserved that kind of premiership glory as much as him, especially considering some of the lean years those Rezzies had. So, look, they deserve all the happiness in the world, those two, and I think it seems like it might have found them with this new daughter. So, congratulations, Cam and Bess. Now let's talk footy because this is obviously a footy podcast, Mick. We've been covering a lot of news, but let's talk about some of the stuff on field that's been happening. I did note with very keen interest that the men's Rising Stars went up to a preseason tournament up in Canberra and got their first win.
They did, mate. Yeah, they actually performed very well. So yeah, they played 3 games up there in the Queanbeyan Cup. They played Queanbeyan first, and then they played a very slick GWS Giants Academy in the
Yep.
second game, and then they played Tuggeranong Valley in the third game. I thought they matched really well against Queanbeyan, and to be fair, I think if they had have played that Queanbeyan game, as their second or third game, or I reckon they might have got the chocolates over them as well.
Yep.
It was a pretty tight game, and they were probably just sort of feeling each other out a little bit and starting to find each other's feet. But yeah, obviously lucky enough they got over the line against Tuggeranong and gelled really well towards the end of the day. So I was really happy for those guys. Obviously went up and supported Anthony and all those guys up there. So yeah, was really happy for them to get the win and hopefully can kickstart a really successful season for those boys.
Yeah, and there's been a bit of turnover for that team. Obviously, you're no longer the head coach there. You've moved up back into the senior role. So tell us a little bit about the kind of the new coaching setup there and some of the player turnover that you might have had with that team as well.
Yeah, so there's obviously been, a few guys go up as well. So Tully Ware's gone into seniors now. Cal Dawn is another one. And then Noah Reid and a few other guys. But there are still a few from last year, like the Asher and there's Tommy Lasau and a few other guys that were pretty important cogs last year, which are Alex Makey's another one. They're sort of the leaders of this team now, and they've obviously got a really good group that's coming through from that under 15 side that was really good last year. And then even a few from the 17s as well last year. So Jacob Pike's come in as well as a key position back, and then Caden Smith and obviously Ryder Freya. So they've got some really talented players that have come into that team as well. And yeah, Anthony's just taken over that role and he's been unbelievable, mate. To be fair, it's just been good to see, from November to where we're at now, and how much how I guess how comfortable he's got in the role, and all the guys are sort of buying into that, and they're getting really great numbers on the track, and yeah, really looking forward to seeing how they go in their first hit out next week.
And I'd imagine some of those boys would have been pretty stoked at the final siren for that win as well.
Yeah, I actually one vision that they obviously videoed the Queanbeyan Cup, so they filmed all the games up there, and I
Yeah.
went back and watched a couple of them, and I've watched the Tuggeranong one a couple of times when they won, and there's a vision where Tully Ware played in it, but there was a bit of vision at the end where they won and the siren went, and Asher sort of threw his fists in the air and give Tully a big cuddle, and yeah, I think as much as it was only a trial game, it does mean a lot to those boys that really ripped in last year and didn't get that win. And footy's not always about winning, but it is great to celebrate those, little wins along the way.
Yeah, of course. And I think you'd agree winning always feels better than losing. So I don't blame them for celebrating even in a preseason game. Let's talk seniors now, Mick. It's preseason camp. Obviously a fixture on the schedule every year. Tell us about this season's camp. What were the numbers like? How did the group go? I suppose in under that kind of that more intensive training format.
Yeah, yeah. So preseason camp is something that I brought into the club. Geez, probably nearly 10 years ago now, but but yeah, it's probably something that I feel as the boys have really got around over the last sort of probably 5 or 6 years, which has been great. And this year we sort of made it a bit more of a whole club event. So we had the women were involved as well as the Rising Stars grade. So
Yep.
yeah, it was just great. It was another really great day. Everyone sort of ripped in, and we got obviously a lot out of it. Not only for a fitness perspective, but I know with the seniors we were able to sit down and have a good meeting for a couple of hours, and I just guess go through what we saw the season, what we see the season look like. I've had a fair turnover in players and stuff like that, so it was just establishing some rules and I guess how we were going to hit this season, and yeah, it's been good to obviously see that in the trials as well, how we've sort of changed our game plan and our game style a little bit, and yeah, I think we're
Yep.
we're looking forward to a really good year, hopefully off the back of that.
So let's talk about those trials.
Yep.
Give us the results, I suppose. Probably not as important as obviously a round one game will be, but how did you go results wise, and kind of did you get what you were looking for out of the teams in the trials?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Obviously a little bit different this year. Last year we were in the preseason invitational, or the men were, which was up against the first grade Sydney team. So this year we sort of went back to, I guess, more our standard of football, where we're at the moment with community footy, and
Yep.
yeah, we probably had two ends of the scale from last year. So this is in the men. So we sort of come up against the Kiama Power in the first trial game, who in the men's finished last year.
Okay.
And then the week after that, we played the Wollongong Bulldogs, who actually won the premiership in that competition last year. So, yeah, two ends of the scale, but two very different games. One was a bit of a stinker with the weather when we played Kiama.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, we come away lucky coming away with the win in both. I think we probably with Kiama, I think it was maybe a 7 or 8 goal win. And then against the Wollongong Bulldogs, it was probably around a four to 5 goal win.
Okay.
And likewise with the girls. So the girls, obviously, they've had a lot of turnover as well in their players from last year, probably more so than any team really.
Okay.
So that first game against Kiama for them was obviously as it was a real test for them, and but it was great to see obviously some girls that are new to the game and some new juniors that were coming through as well, and then yeah, they went into the Wollongong game just unbelievable. They played outstanding, and they managed to beat the Wollongong Bulldogs in that trial match. And
Yep.
then they actually backed it up last week. They went again last week down to Narooma.
Okay.
And played Naruma in the wet, and I think they come away with a yeah. Don't quote me either on this, but I think it was around a 7 or 8 goal win down there in the wet as well. So yeah, girls have had a fair turnover in players, but I think they're building a really competitive team as well.
You must have a really hungry playing group, both in the men's and women's. Given last year didn't end as we probably all wanted. Is that the feeling you're getting? It's just a really hungry playing group.
Oh, I don't think so, mate. Hey, I think it's a bit different. Like, I just think that with the turnover of players, there are quite a number of new players in each team
Yeah.
that are probably, I guess, not oblivious to what went on last year, but they sort of a bit sheltered because they weren't a part of it.
Yep.
So I don't know whether there is that factor. I think it's just pure enjoyment at the moment. To be fair, I think there's just a really great feeling around the footy club, and everyone at the club is aware of the direction and what we want to go, and yeah, it's just a really good feel. Everyone's enjoying turning up to training and games, and everyone's chipping in and doing their part to help out. And yeah, to be fair, mate, there really hasn't been any mention about last year and what happened on that grand final day. So, I mean, there might be going into round one this week, or potentially a bit of redemption or whatnot. But I just feel with that bit of turnover in players that it's probably not really an issue. To be fair.
I mean, it's probably the perfect way for the playing group to be. You don't, it's I guess it's a positive to be hungry, but you also run the risk of kind of being stuck on it, putting too much emphasis maybe into those games against Woden for the seniors,
Yep.
for example. I will ask you though, as the team's coach and as someone who played on that grand final day last year, will you have Woden circled, or do you think you're just going to be going with the vibes of the playing group this year?
Oh, I think it's probably a game every year that you have circled, mate. And that's no different to the ADFAs and the ANUs and potentially Gugong as well. I
Yeah,
feel that that's probably oh, going off history. They're generally your top sort of 4 or 5 sides with us included. So
yeah,
yeah, I think they're the ones that you probably circle straight away. And now with the Div 3 teams combining across all the grades now, it gives you a bit longer season. I mean, last year we played Woden 5 times. Um,
yeah,
so I mean, this year it's obviously going to be a lot different. I think we play Woden twice, but the other teams we only play once throughout the home and away season. The ADFAs, ANUs, and Gugongs. So um, yeah, definitely. I think we've got it circled, mate. But like I said, I don't think it's something that we're dwelling on. Like I don't think we're
yeah,
going right. Oh, we need a revenge game against Woden or anything like that. I think for the most part, we all know that we just didn't turn up on grand final day, and that's footy. That happens.
yeah,
We were probably underprepared, and it could have been a lot of things that led to that. But I think in the back of our minds, we all probably know that if we all had bought the best version of ourselves and the best Batemans Bay Seahawks, that probably would have went the other way. But as footy is, if you don't do that, then you lose.
yeah. All right, look, let's not dwell on that because that is obviously we're moving on from that, Mick. Let's talk about round. Well, let's talk about round one. Exciting time as we spoke about right at the top of the show. Like the season could go any direction at this point, and I guess that's part of the joy of being involved in a footy club. But you're heading up the mountain, you're heading over the hill for round one. Seniors taking on Belconnen at Belconnen, a team that you haven't seen in first grade for a few years now. And then the women's and the Rezzies both taking on the Southern Cats. Um, how are you feeling about round one? How do you feel? Do you feel like you've got the team kind of ready to go for round one? Are you happy with your fixture? Talk us about what is kind of going through your mind ahead of this weekend.
Yeah, I think like you said, mate, it's probably a little bit of an unknown, really, for all grades. We're coming up against teams that we traditionally haven't played for a few years, so in the Div One men's, we're obviously coming up against Belconnen, so don't really know what they're going to bring. Their Premier Division season doesn't start till next week, so they potentially could have first graders or Div Two players that they want to get a run in before the season. So
Yep.
yeah, so you don't really know. So I guess we just play it on its merits and really just go in there focused on ourselves and controlling ourselves and what we can do. Holt is a really small ground, so it's a lot different to what we're used to playing at Hanging Rock Oval. So we'll probably have to adjust a few things on that front, and we've started to talk about that at training last night, and we'll probably delve into that a lot more tomorrow night.
Yep.
And then, yeah, obviously down into the Rezzies, they're coming up against Kuma, who um, are a team that we obviously haven't played for a fair while as well. So it's a little bit of an unknown with those guys, and likewise with the Rezzies, they're no different to the seniors and the women. They've had a fair turnover in players as well. So
Yep.
going to be a bit of a new outfit to the one that won the premiership last year.
Yep.
But yeah, I still think that looking at a team on paper today with Cam, I still think there's a quality side there as well. So be really interested to see how that team develops. And probably, I don't think they'll hit their straps for a few weeks yet. I think they will need a bit of time to gel, but there's definitely some talent in that side. Um, And then with the women, they're obviously coming up against Kuma, who this is their very first game, so
Wow.
they've never had a women's team before.
Okay.
So that yeah,
About as unknown as you can
if there is if there is any unknown team, that's the one that you're probably going to
get.
go to. But yeah, so I'm not too sure. I guess the girls, like I said, each week they just seem to be getting better and better.
Yep.
Talking to Shan and a couple of the other girls last night at training. They sort of feel that, the Kiama one was probably the one where they just blew out a few cobwebs and they got to bring in some girls that have never played footy before. And yeah, each week they've gradually got that little bit better. So it'd be sort of interesting, I guess, to see how round one goes, just with the sheer fact that we've had that turnover of players in all three teams, to be fair.
So those fixtures are happening Saturday, Holt's Oval at Belconnen. Mick, just run us through the times. It should be 10 a.m., 12 p.m., 2 p.m. I'm assuming that's the
Yeah, that's it, mate.
still.
Spot on. Yep.
Now you were talking about the new fixture for this season. Obviously, last year smaller comp. Saw every team twice. Saw Woden 3 times in the regular season. These are the new clubs that the first grade. I'll just focus on first grade from now. These are the new clubs they're going to be facing in 2025. We've already mentioned Belconnen. They're going to be playing Yass, Goulburn, Cootamundra, Eastlake. They are all the new teams that you have not seen probably for a few seasons now in first grade. Does that make your job? I'd imagine that makes your job as a head coach a bit harder because obviously you're coming in blind or somewhat blind against a lot of these clubs.
Yeah, it definitely does, mate. I mean, to be fair, I probably haven't watched much of the Div 3 footy over the last few years. I've probably across some of their game styles. I think Eastlake are probably a team that they sort of come from the clouds last year and won that Div 3. And they've just got a lot of really good depth at their football club at the moment. In first grade, they've probably, to be fair, they've probably got the team to beat. They've got the Josh Bruce and a fair few state league footballers that have topped up their first grade side, so they've got a hell of a lot of depth.
Yep.
And they've actually added a Division 4 side this year, so they've got a team in the reserve grade competition as well. So,
Right.
and their rising stars last year, they had a really handy rising stars team. Which nearly 90% of that was top age. So yeah, they've obviously got that depth. So I think they're probably one that we'll really have to look out for.
Yep.
Um, and Belconnen, they're obviously another team that have got really good depth in their junior grades. So I can see them probably being really young. And yeah, the Yas, Goulburn, and Cooters are probably, to be fair, a fair bit unknown.
Yep.
Cootamundra, I don't know whether you know this, Jolly. I actually played for Cootamundra before.
I think I did know that. Yeah.
But yeah, so I do keep a little bit of a keen eye on Cooter, and I am familiar with a few guys that make up their team, and they're actually adding a reserve grade side this year for the first time in their club's history. So
Yeah. Okay.
obviously well done to Cootamundra as well. So they're obviously got a bit of depth there as well now as well.
And I think from maybe a fan's perspective, it also gives you a couple of different experiences for away days. You're going to have days in Murrum, Bateman, and Goulburn this year, not just trips over to Canberra. So that's probably a bit of an added wrinkle as well.
Yeah, I think we're probably lucky. Or even when Cootamundra were in our comp a few years ago, we used to always meet on neutral territory, so we will play them at Gugong
Yep.
for that fixture. But yeah, obviously going the seniors will go to Goulburn and yeah, we'll go to Murrum Bateman as well to play Murrum Bateman and Yass.
Just a bit of a different point of view, I suppose, for the fans to go to. I guess ovals they probably maybe haven't seen in a few years. So I'm trying to think of the fans here, Mick. I guess. Um, hey, look, we've probably spoken enough about round one. The preparation has been done. It's on the players now to, I guess, go out and perform. But yeah, I guess just finally before we kind of close off this first podcast of the year, Mick, um, how are you feeling about the playing list for the seniors heading into this season?
Yeah, pretty optimistic, mate. To be fair, I wasn't quite sure going into the trials. There's a lot of youth there, but I think then the guys that we've lost, I think we've had guys that have come in that can cover them. Obviously
Yep.
Dylan Hart and Jade Eaton are two guys that have moved up to Queensland, and that's Dylan was obviously a key forward for us last year, and Jade, a key centre half back,
Yep.
and Joey Teggett with an injury to him. They're obviously really key players that we lose, and experienced players. But we bring in a lot of youth. So we bring in Tully Ware, who had an exceptional season last year in the men's Rising Stars, and was
Yep.
picked in the team of the year up there last year.
Yep.
So he'll come into the ruck. Um, and then we've
He
got
came
Cal.
and on Tully as well came into the senior side last year and had a very good game. The
Yeah,
game he
and
played up with the
and
seniors as
looked
well.
very good in the trials too, mate. Looked really good in the ruck, and
Yep.
so we bring in Cal Dawn, who's had another exceptional preseason, played very well in the trial games. Alex Makey will play seniors this week, so he'll be sort of in and out between us and the men's Rising Stars for the year, I would assume.
Yep.
And then another guy that probably not too many people would know is Harry Shannon, who's moved back to Bateman's Bay. He was a local junior and played a bit of footy for the Northern District Tigers in the AFL South Coast. So he's come back, and yeah, he looked really good in the Bulldogs trial, playing at centre half forward. So
Okay.
um, yeah, so I think I'm pretty optimistic, mate. We've had another guy move to town, Jamin McGann, who's come from Wangaratta as well. So yeah, I don't know. We just seem to have this little knack um, over the years where we do lose a few, but we tend to pick up a few as well. So we've
I
trialled
suppose
it.
that's just regional footy as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, mate, and probably more so for us being on the coast. You tend to get a few more people come to town each year, and generally from out west that have played a bit of footy and stuff like that. So, but there has been, I won't go too much into it. There's a couple of little positional changes that we've worked on throughout the preseason, which we'll unleash on the weekend, and we've worked really heavy on some zones and structures and stuff like that as well. So, yeah, looking forward to it, mate. Really enjoyed back coaching the seniors, sitting on the bench in the first two trials. So, yeah, really looking forward to being back amongst the obviously was involved with the senior group last year playing, but to be back in a coaching capacity, yeah, really enjoying it so far.
Brilliant. And team list that'll be probably released tomorrow, I would imagine, Thursday for
Yeah, I think we'll
listeners.
aim to probably might not be till Friday morning, mate. We're just there's a couple of guys that we're seeing how they get through training tomorrow,
Yeah.
but nothing too major. But yeah, I would assume probably a Friday morning we'll have team lists will be out on Seahawks socials.
Keep an eye on that. Hey, good first episode, I reckon, Mick, for 2025. I feel like we've blown the cobwebs out, and we'll be ready to go, bigger and better again next week. Um, yeah, thanks, Mick. And I guess we'll speak next week.
Cheers, Jolie. It's good to be back.
Yeah, no worries. All right, thank you.
See you, mate.